Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon. Last time, we made our way through the World 2 levels here via the Inkling Amiibo challenges. And today, we're continuing on with these said challenges going into World 3. So let's scan our Inkling Amiibo and get started. Why hello there! How goes it? Pretty good. Ready to go ahead and start off with World 3 here. Starting off with a limited ink challenge in level 11. Ink Visible Avenues. Find your path. Ink Visible Avenues with limited ink. Yeah, okay. I can definitely see this being one of our hardest missions yet. Especially when this is already one of the hardest levels in the main campaign with unlimited ink. Now we have to do this with a very limited supply. So we'll definitely want these enemies to ink the area around us to reveal a lot of the invisible floors and walls. Not to mention, pay attention to where your crosshair is, as if it lights up on something that looks like it's not there. That's one of the invisible structures that you can go ahead and ink. At this point, I think these enemies here have inked up enough of this area, so now I can make my way over to the other side, knowing what's safe and what's not, and take them out so that I can move on to the next section here. Keep in mind, you can stand an enemy ink and take damage, but it will not kill you. An enemy has to shoot you to finish you off when an enemy ink. So we can stand this enemy ink to traverse and be perfectly safe as long as there's no other enemies around us. But if there is an enemy around you, get out of the ink, as even one shot might kill you if you're that low on health. But we're going to be using this enemy ink as often as we can here to know where we're going. So baiting around the AI is key. And also knowing the level structure ahead of time is really helpful too. So maybe practice this level a couple times in the main single player campaign before you play through this said challenge mode, as having this knowledge ahead of time makes things a lot safer and in general a lot easier on the said player. But here, now that we defeat the enemies, I'm just going to climb up this wall ever so slightly, as when we're climbing, we are inking the side of the wall without any of our actual ink being used. So that makes things a lot safer too on your ink tank. Now we got to be really careful here. Pay attention when your crosshair lights up, as this will tell you where it's safe to move. So at this point, we're just going to want to take out these enemies and being very careful of these squeegees, because they're wanting to clean up all of the ink that we just put down. So the squeegees here are going to be the real problem that we have to worry about. Sir, please stop inking my section. I just want to climb the wall. I mean, look at all that. That's all wasted ink. One of the least favorite enemies in this area. Of course, I got to be in one of the hardest sections here too. I'm going to walk forward here, being very careful not to move anymore, because if I do, I'm probably going to fall into the abyss. And now with that enemy defeated and we're into the launch pad, that is the hardest section of the level now completed. And we're nearing the ending stretch here. I'm just going to ignore the enemies in this area, shoot this balloon fish, which will pop another one up above, inking this whole wall so we can go ahead and climb up. And we're not even done with our first ink tank yet, and we're at the final checkpoint. So this section here, we can use a lot more ink, as we have a lot to spare, and this I did on purpose. So now I can just abuse the amount of ink we have left and just finish up this section with relative ease. So here, I'm just gonna be very careful, aim my bomb, and throw it right at these enemies here, and just ink them up at this point. As we have more than enough ink, I don't have to worry. So I'm gonna fill up my ink tank here so we can throw one more bomb and complete the level with a fraction of my ink left. That is the Ink Visible Avenues completed with limited ink. For beating Ink Visible Avenues here, we get ourselves 1,200 gold. Pretty nice chunk of change. Let's move on to our next level, which is a Kraken speedrun. Flutter Junkyard, Renegade Robots. So 3 minutes and 30 seconds are on the clock. We want to get through here as fast as we can, and thankfully with Kraken, we can just swim through a lot of these flutters, as we don't have to worry about them damaging us at all, since we're invincible. So that's going to make things a lot easier on us. We'll go ahead and activate this ink rail from the other side, and now we'll use this as a shortcut. Now that we're here on our next checkpoint, we're going to take out these enemies, but we're going to do our set speedrun strat here and get out of this section as fast as we can. So we're gonna be jumping onto this pole and skipping a whole section here and just going on to our next major area. Excuse me, coming through. Let's make our way to our last section here. And thankfully with Kraken, we don't really have to worry about anything here when it comes to the said flutters, the enemies here shooting us. We can just plow through the section here, get to our key, get into the ink rail, and go right to our last area, which is right back to where that first checkpoint was located. Throw a bomb onto the Zapfish, and that is Flutter Junkyard completed in record time. For completing Flutter Junkyard here at the Kraken, we got ourselves 1,300 gold. A good chunk of change. But now let's go ahead and move on to our next level here, another Kraken speedrun. Shifting Platforms, Midnight Rendezvous. This level shouldn't be as bad as the last one because there's no major speedrun trick we're going to be going for. So, nothing really too crazy here, except we're just going to be ignoring basically everything because we're a Kraken, we don't have to worry about taking any enemy damage here. At the same time, we move really fast. So, we're just going to skip a lot of these cycles by going as fast as we can to make it to the other platforms before they retract. Climb up this wall here, being careful not to get shot because even though we don't take damage, we do suffer from knockback. So we don't want to fall off the platform because of an enemy shooting at us. Moving on to our final checkpoint here. Level's already basically done at this point. Hard to believe, but Kraken really does make short work of a lot of these levels, especially when it comes to a speedrun sense here. So we're just going to climb up this wall here, just climbing the final section, jump to our Zapfish, and that is shifting platforms in record time. You blink, and you miss pretty much the whole level. For completing shifting platforms here, we got 1,400 gold, a good chunk of change. But let's move on now to the boss of World 3 as we are now done with all the levels here. Roll with the punches, the rampaging Octo Whirl. Two minutes and 55 seconds on the clock to defeat Octo Whirl here. Seems like an oddly specific number, but it's not going to really be that big of a deal here. Kraken can paint the floor pretty easily, but also we'll just use our weapon here to do the same. In fact, in some cases, it might just be better for us to use our said main weapon to paint the floor in combination with our bomb as well. Kraken doesn't really have range. It's more of a close range attacking said special. So even though it is good to ink around you, it won't be good for distance areas. So keep that in mind while fighting the Octo Whirl here. But we're definitely going to want to ink around as much as we can. I'll just paint the floor and everything around me, just in case this guy wants to take a very weird path. And sure enough, he's going to be locking on right about now. So everything here is good to go. Just wait for him to get stuck, jump up into the tentacle, and do some damage. That is phase 2. Now, time for phase 3, where the boss is going to remove some of the inkable floor, making it impossible for us to ink certain parts of the arena. But it's not going to really change all too much for us here. We're noticing, though, that Kraken isn't really as useful in this fight as it was in previous boss encounters, and that's just mainly because of the gimmick of this said boss fight in general. You can still ink the floor pretty effectively here with Kraken, but you're better off just using your main weapon most of the time. And even attacking the tentacle, it might be faster for you just to use your hero shot, because it'll do about the same damage as the Kraken over time, but since you have range, you don't have to get up close and personal with the Octo Whirl. Now the Octo Whirl is defeated, so let's go to the center of the arena and grab our Zapfish. that is the Octo World defeated once more, this time using the Kraken. For defeating the Octo World with the Kraken, we got ourselves the Power Boots, with Ink Saver main as its main ability. Very interesting looking shoes. They look massive. So I'm very curious to see how this set is going to look now that we have all 3 parts. But that is the Octo World defeated, meaning World 3 is now fully complete here for the Inkling Squid. Now ready to move on to our next set of levels here in World 4, which we'll be doing in the next episode. Next time on Let's Play Splatoon, we'll make our way through World 4 via the Inkling Squid Amiibo challenges. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.